Okay, good afternoon everybody. Welcome this afternoon. I'm going to do something a little different this afternoon. I'm just going to practice doing some working with chains, some jewellery, chainmail, however you want to describe it. Oh, hey, I might even have Twitch alerts working this afternoon. Looks like there was a problem with it earlier. So, I'm going to have a go. I have no idea how I'm doing this. So I'm going to learn. And orange and... yeah. So I'm going to try and do something called a Turkish round, which is a weave I haven't tried using rings. I've not tried it using anything else either. I have no idea whether these are the right rings or not, so we're going to find out. I'm going to... I don't know. I'm going to do some orange rings, which I've just built into the other boxes. And I'm going to use some orange, well, orange and pink, I don't know, maybe orange and blue. Well, let me have a look. So I can either do orange and pink. And my sense of whether things clash or not is terrible, so I can do orange and blue. I could do pink and blue because I've got a fair number of these rings, so I'm just that's the reason why I considering using them to do practice with. So I don't know whether which do I like the best. There's something to be said for all of them, I suppose. I think I might go. I don't know. I wish I could judge whether colours are going to clash or not. Ah dear. This is the hard part, deciding what goes with what or what doesn't. I think I'll use the pink and the blue just because they are pale colours. See, I could use silver as well. I've got a fair few silver, but we'll see. Let's do this. I just want to make a short length of chain up just to practice. See what it's about. So let's get a few more out and then can always get some more out if I need them. Really could do something like a small spoon for this, but there we go, just a few out. Close the box up and put that to one side. He says I've got the pyrography. Yeah, Incredible Fox. I am would be nice, and I agree with you in that respect. But I am aware that somebody was interested in a purple bracelet, and I only have I don't have very many of those. I potentially even need to order some more, but so I'm saving them basically for the moment, and then we'll until either I order some more or something like this. And this is just practice, so I'm kind of doing it with whatever I've got lots of rings with. In some extent, I'm not even really bothered about sort of clashes in colour. This is just about me practicing. So I'm going to make the main thing with excuse me, the main pattern with pink, and I'll link them with blue. And I'm going to change glasses as well because I'll have a better view with my other glasses. Anyway, Incredible Fox, how are you doing? For when I've done the elephant pyrography, I've got I'm going to challenge myself to doing something which might be of interest for you to watch. And I'm trying to get glasses out. I've just got out, and you know, it's some of the pyrography that I've been doing is quite time consuming. So one of the things I've got here, which I got just to try out, is some door hangers. And what I thought I'd do is see if I can do a design on both sides actually, in a limited time. So kind of like 2 hours, say, something like that, and just see what I can do in 2 hours. And you kind of prompted me to it, and of course what I thought I'd do is use an idea that you suggested and just see whether or not I could do something in 2 hours on ideally both sides, so about an hour per side. Now I haven't really worked time boxed like that, especially with pyrography, because I kind of like to keep it slow. I'm still practicing, but and speed is a double-edged sword, as you've probably heard me say. So I just thought that might interest you. But I'm going to finish the elephant, the scene I'm doing at the moment first, and then try that afterwards. So that may be something you might like to watch because of the subject matter. But anyway, let's have a go at this. I'm almost certain I haven't got enough rings out, but this is just a bit of fun to try out something that I haven't done before. Yeah, so these are the main ones, so I'm going to need about 6 of these to start with. I'm going to do this a bit at a time. Okay, come on. So the weave I'm going to try, at least to start with here, is called Turkish round. So I found out, I looked at it and thought, hey, that looks pretty, I'd like to try that, and then found out what it was called. But it looks quite like a Byzantine style, but with sort of 3 sides. So you've just woken up. That's time zones for you, Incredible Fox. Well, I assume it's time zones. Oh dear. There are times when I've woken up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, when I intended to be awake somewhat earlier than that. But it's 3 PM here in the UK. Come on, ring. There we go. I'm trying to make sure that the when I close these rings, I actually make them basically smooth. As you can't actually make them smooth, but if they line up perfectly, they're less likely to catch, to scratch, to work their own way open. So I do try quite strongly to sort of make that match, to the point where sometimes I even have trouble seeing where the mark is, which is where they're being cut. So I'll carry on using these pliers for a little bit. These 2 different types of pliers here. These are a parallel jaw, if you look here, you can see that they're not. The gap is the same all the way down, whereas these close. It just holds the ring in a slightly different way. It clasps it rather than tending to squeeze it out the end. It holds it a little bit more securely. The only thing is these are a bit harder. They've got a bit harder spring, so I don't always like using them. 1, 2, 3, 4 rings on there, and then we close this up. And then I'll take another one of these, put these two on, and then connect 2 of these into here as well, like that. And that's the base start. Now, well, it is until you drop it. Then I take another ring and join those round into a circle. So I take those 2 like that, and now I've got to get this the right way round, I think. And I think it's like those 2 like that. It's not even time zone. She went to bed at 12 o'clock. Okay, 12 lunchtime, 12, or 12 midnight, 12. I'm going to say if it's 12 midnight, you went early. Dear. No, there's nothing wrong with it. It's everybody each to their own, whichever suits them best. So I've got, that's my base. Laser, I'm streaming early today. Sort of. Well, sort of not. Saturday and Sunday afternoons are just ad hoc streams as I feel like doing them, Laser, so it's not really one way or the other. Now then, I did have a pointy tool here. There we go. So let me get hold of this. I'm going to have fun doing this. I know I'm going to have fun doing this. This strikes me as getting started is the hard bit on this. It is. So this is going to be, dear, let me have a look. Oh dear, is it that? That doesn't strike me as being the right. I'm trying to work out just exactly how these things go together. I'm looking at some pictures and just trying to work it out. Yeah, well, it's a Sunday afternoon. 3D Bloke, good afternoon. Welcome to the studio this afternoon. I trust you're feeling better this afternoon. Incredible Fox, I'm not alone. No, I'm not alone. My wife's here, so I'm definitely not alone. And if there's nobody watching me, that's sad, but okay. I'm just happy you guys are around. Thank you very much for dropping in. So I'm trying to... Okay, so in theory I suppose I have to pick up that pair there. Now that... Okay. Well, I'm just going to go for it. Let's have a go. It's either going to work or it's not going to work. And I have no idea whether actually the I've got 3 rings open here, whether I'm going to pick these up in the right. If this was Byzantine, the blue rings there would interlink between the different sections. I've no idea whether that's what's going to happen here when I do it with these. So I may have got my colours wrong. That's part of learning, to work out how I which colours go where if I want to use multiple colours. So that's like that. Then I think I want one that's going to go through there and there, like that. Okay, and then that means that this one wants to go through there and there. So I think I've got some colouring wrong here, but anyway, we shall see. We shall see. So so if this was Byzantine, what I'd be doing is picking up that from in there and presumably pick that one up from in there, pick that one up from in there like that, and I put a ring on those. Hey, talk about making this up as you go along. So this is by no means is this speed work. I think I'm doing it the right way. Judging by the pattern that I'm creating, and if I'm not doing it the right way, then I'm still creating a pattern. So okay, that's that. Right, there we go. Right, this is a real jumble to start with. So that sort of looks right. There's confidence for you. It sort of looks right, which means that that one and that one would be the next that I want to get in. And if anybody can work out what I'm trying to do, you're better than I am. Ah dear. Three-sided Byzantine style. So in that case then that means I need another blue ring. And so I'm trying to go through there. I've gone through that one and that one. That means I want to go through there like that. Or even there through there like that, the backwards way. So can't get all the 3 rings all at the same time. Let me see if I can get a little bit of wire around here. Never have a cable tie when you want one, and then when you don't want one, they're all over the place. You can't get rid of the things. There we go. I have a cable tie. Let's see if I can work out how to get hold of this thing. Right, let me put the cable tie on the bit I'm working on. Like that, and then I can see how to get hold of the other end. No, there's definitely something wrong there. I think I'm sort of getting the hang of it because I can start to see the shape, but these blue ones here, there's something wrong with the blue ones here. Actually, I've not done right. So what I may well do is have another go. Start again and have another go. As they kind of say, close but no cigar. So Mr. Boombati, thank you very much for following, sir. I greatly appreciate that, especially from such an expert chainmail worker as yourself. That's fantastic. Thank you very much. Now, there's a join on this ring somewhere. I'm taking it apart because I've got it wrong, but let's just see if I can chop the back end off. Because I think I'm working it the right way. It's just his back end looks really confused, but never mind. It's a fun bit though, is learning. It'd be no fun if you could do everything perfect. Well, it might be still fun, I guess, but it's I enjoy learning and trying, and if I fail, fine. I don't mind. It's fun to keep trying and learn as I go along. Of course, what I've probably got here now is Mr. Boombati there, who does, well, as well as playing games, I know does chainmail because I've watched him quite a few times in an evening, and he's probably either laughing away at me here, trying to work it out to do this, or he's going to be screaming in his monitor, going, "You just do this or that," and it'd be all right, or either that, or he may well be getting rather frustrated at how long I'm taking to do what is possibly a really simple thing. Oh dear. But there we go. I've now gone all the way back to the start again. Right. So I'm going to get hold of these. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get myself a couple of different coloured rings just to help me out with this. I'm going to, yeah, that'll do. I am just going to join these. I know these blue ones are the ones that I kind of start with in this particular case. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just form them into an end. I'm going to put a couple of, actually let's put 3 of these orange rings in. So I bring those, the 3 that are there, down to a single ring, which is then easier to get hold of, and then I can work from there. I just need to work out, so I'm going to want 1 through there and there. Oh dear, I've mentioned it before, but on doing the other things, the other crafting, like carving and pyrography and things like that, people think I need patience, and I kind of always go, no, I don't need patience, because it's everything goes okay, so I don't really need patience when everything's going okay. This working with rings like this is something I find really needs lots of patience, because you're trying to get things to go where they don't want to go. The pyrography, for example, doesn't actively slip out of your fingers like this does. Right, now if I take that and put that through there, I will then have a single ring to get hold of. And I'm just going to put a tie wrap just in there, just like that. You know what? I should look at chat occasionally as well. Ah dear. Oh, you're welcome, Mr. Boombatty. No, well, no, everybody has to learn, so I don't mind Mr. Boombatty. The pressure's probably on Mr. Boombatty, because he will kind of potentially be feeling frustrated at watching a beginner try this. Yeah, it's Turkish round, Mr. Boombatty, Turkish round, which, yeah, I'm familiar with Byzantine, and of course, as I'm reading it, Turkish round is just similar to Byzantine in terms of the way in which it seems to look. So I'm expecting to need to pick up that ring there. Am I doing that right? No, I'm not. That's blue. Okay, come out this way. So if I was going to do that, I'd flick that back that way and pick up the inside of that ring there. I know once I get the first few, no, that doesn't look it. Once I get the first few of these, first few rows done, then I know I'm going to have less of a problem with this. think it's like that. Okay, so let's try and work with that. We'll see whether it looks right in a moment. So it's going to be that one and that one. And then, since these are in threes, it should be that one and that one. And my blue links here should be the interlinks between the units. If I've got it right. If I haven't, it's going to look terrible. So, how do you pick up 3 rings with a straight piece of thing like that? It's sort of looking like I expected it to look. So what I think I need to do now is to put another 2 sets of blue 2 sets of these pink rings on, and then fold them over like I would do with a Byzantine. So let's open up some of these rings. 1, 2 sets. It's going to be 6, not 4 in this case. 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I'm going to need 3 blue ones to complete that. So let's open those now. I love the ability of rings to join themselves together in a box. Okay. So all I should need to do to start with is to put, I guess it doesn't matter which side they're coming from, that and that together. Then that one and that one. Oh dear, yeah, I've got to remember to, in fact I'll move the camera in a minute. I guess I got to keep remembering to keep this thing on the camera. I will shift the camera position in just a second, which will make that a bit easier. That camera position there is more for the pyrography rather than the chain. So just put that down, and then I shall just move this. If I move this in this sort of direction here, hopefully that holds it a bit better into view. And if I move my hands backwards and forwards, it's still in view then. Oh dear. I think these actually are probably using slightly too large a ring size for this. Okay, let me carry on a bit more and we'll see how well I'm doing with this, or whether I'm making a complete hash. There we go. And whilst I'm making whatever I'm making out of this, just anybody who's watching, we've got at least a couple of streamers in the chat there that I do highly recommend you check out. There's 3D Bloke was around, and 3D does airbrush art, and yeah, I think actually probably these rings are not quite suitable for this, but that's part of me learning as well. He does 3D art. That's 3D art. 3D Bloke does airbrush art. He's doing some nice monochrome work at the moment, and you know, things like he's done sort of things like Darth Vader helmet and the Xenomorph from Alien, and one or two other nice, very nice pieces, and some abstract stuff. And he even occasionally works with a hairy-ended stick and does some artwork like that as well. So I highly recommend you check him out. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, Mr. Boombati, and I came across Mr. Boombati because he does Chainmaille, but I noticed he's been streaming doing the Ark, I believe, just recently, I think it is, and highly entertaining in both. Although I must admit I haven't watched much of the Ark, Mr. Boombati, but I only have so much time when I'm not streaming, and there's so much going on in creative that I'm kind of sort of hooked on doing that, or watching that. So if I could get hold of, well, these are the wrong rings, definitely. I think I'm getting the right weave. It kind of resembles what I expect it to do, but these rings obviously are not right. They're probably too big, or rather they're maybe not thick enough. Yeah, it looks horrible, does that? Right sort of idea, but sort of horrible. They're much too loose. They're sort of folding in the right way. But they're much too loose a weave, is that? Which is a pity. What am I using there? 19 3/16s. You going to suggest, Mr. Bubati? Okay. Well, have a good evening, sir. A good sleep, and thank you for dropping in and for the follow. It's amazing. Thank you very much. 3D, you're currently fighting some digital work. Oh, lost emotes. Okay. Well, I make my mistakes on stream, so you know, like this. I'm gonna say, at least if nothing else, it helped to. I think I've got the right layout. So it's just getting the right size of rings from there to do it. I think they probably either need to be smaller in 19 gauge, or they need to be a thicker ring. So maybe an 18 gauge. So let's, Eddie may well make a suggestion there. He's an expert in this, so But otherwise what I'm going to do is say, okay, I tried that, didn't work in 19 gauge, because I think I'm doing it right. So one of the things I can do is try 18 gauge. Well, I've got a fair number of sizes, so let me just put these away. We'll try a different size. Let's see if I've got any 5/32. Yeah, the at least what's pleased me is I kind of recognised that I need to either go to a thicker diameter ring or a smaller diameter ring to work with those. 18, yeah, okay. I've got some of those. Have I got any? The 20s. I'm just wondering if I've got a well, it doesn't really matter, I suppose. I'm just wondering what I've got a lot of seafoam, so I try some seafoam. I'm just wondering if I've got another set of colours. I don't want to put them on there. I do not have enough room. Get my other box out here. 16, 18. Oh, of course, the orange. Yeah, that'll do it. It'll help me see them apart. It will. It'll help me see them apart. Thank you very much, Adi, for the suggestion. So I'm going to try. I've got a fair number of these seafoam, so I can use those to just practice with. And I have a fair few of these orange as well, so they may or may not go together, but it'll help me see the different bits. So what the heck, and let me just pick out another couple of just want 3. 1, 2, 3 gold. Okay. The only trouble with streaming is your drinks go cold. So, okay. I'm going to need to close some of these. One. 2. 3. 4. Just do a block at a time. 5. 6. I'll now do 6 of these orange as well. which is 3 to start with and 3 to go on the end. Now these want to be open and I need 12 of those. Do I need? No, 6 to start with. Yeah, okay. 1, 2, 3. Of course, 84 guy there, by the way, who was just advising me very nicely on, or very kindly on rings, is also a does chainmail jewellery, the same as Mr. Boombati does, and the same as I'm trying to do here. So I highly recommend you check him out. Eddie normally streams making his jewellery Monday to Friday between about 1 and 3 PM in the UK, and on a Wednesday evenings. Other evenings when he streams he's playing games, so you get a variety with Eddie. With me you just get craft work. So well, that is, unless I suppose one day I might just go, you know what, I want to do something different for a while, and I'll probably end up playing Minecraft or something like that, but we shall see. Right, so I shall curb my impatience with rings going all over the place. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I guess, thinking about it, that camera probably wants a little bit of focusing. And little's probably the word, but oh, it's on auto. Why is it on auto? There we go, about there. Computers thinking for themselves sometimes. Probably means Skynet's here already, and we just don't know it. Okay, so I want to take those two and join them to those two there, like that. Well, at least I've got that bit right. I think. I'll have a look in a minute. I may well have twisted them. Nope, that looks right. Got a nice pretty design like that. Now then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie these orange ones together, which should help me keep hold of them. So I work this out right. The orange one's at the bottom. I'm just using these gold rings so they stand out and I can see which they are. And then I take another gold ring and put it through the two that I've just done. That's sort of taken the 3, reduced it to 2. Deep breath. I just felt the frustration building up just a little bit there. Right, now then, I'm going to put that through there just to give me something to hang on to. And one of these days I'll get a bit of wire or something a bit easy to work with than that. So if I'm doing this if I'm doing this correctly, which I'm not. I'm not doing it correctly. I could correct myself. Well, yeah, I could undo what I've just done, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to undo that ring from there, because it's, now that I've done this, I can see exactly what it is I've done wrong. I put these orange rings in the middle, if you like. What I should have done is they should have been at one end of that group of 3 that I started with. Sorry, group of whatever I started with. So I just need to take one of these out. I'll take that one since I can actually see the joint. And that one as well. Alright, now then. So I reckon I want to put that through. I reckon I want to pick up this ring again and put it through there and through that. Well, that one and that one will do, like that. Pick up this, and that will go through that ring. Okay, I'll pick up this and we'll make it a bit wider. It will go through that ring and through that ring. I'll find that later. Probably in a vacuum cleaner. Ah. That's because I keep saying them that many times, Edie. I still haven't worked out your evening stream times, and that's partly because I generally don't get a chance to watch them. We start about 6:30, I think it is, isn't it? And then I think you finish around about 9:30. I think that's just from memory, because you tend to join me towards the end of my stream. So okay, and then I take orange ones like this, and if I've got this right, this will look how I expect it to look. And I'll do another block, and then that should consolidate what I think it should look like, but it's already looking like I think it should. And that's sort of resembling a Byzantine bracelet. Now, I'm not very fast at those, but I do know how to do those. Come along, rings. Please cooperate today when I'm learning. Thank you. Isn't it amazing sometimes how when you talk to things like this, they sometimes help you. And other times they're really malicious. There we go. That's better. I've got something that looks like a Byzantine block, which is this sort of folded over design. So let's have another 6 blue rings, and now worked out how to start as well, and that helps. 7 and 7:30 until 9:30. Okay, I recalled I normally get a chance to see you start. I generally eat my tea watching you on a Wednesday. Yes, they did. We'll see. What I did was just send out a picture of what the ring colours were like, because you know what it's like with the purples on stream. You just can't, and some of the other colours are a bit off, so just give them the ability to see what the different colours are. Right, and so 6 of those, and I want another 3 orange. Only a little bit more than that. There we go. Yep. It's amazing. Before the stream, I was studying pictures and things like that about this particular weave, and now that I've worked out how to do it, I understand the pictures. It's not an easy weave to do, though, despite the similarity to something else, to the Byzantine look. This has got me kind of wondering just how small a ring I could do this with, because I could imagine this being really in a really small ring size, being quite a delicate looking chain. And that's the idea of me experimenting with just these little short sections, learning the weaves and just seeing what they look like. Now then, what I should be able to do is just fold that under that, and it'll all pop up. Hey, this is when you get the right ring size. Let me also close that ring a bit better. When you get the right ring size, this is it's almost forming itself. That must be just my luck, I think. Put that one through there, that one through there. That's it. Come along, rings. You're going to cooperate with me, aren't you, today? Thank you. And that one through there. And this one through that. Hey! I've done it. Now that, I think, because Ed is the expert on this one, but that to me looks like I'm doing it right. I'm going to put another, I think I'll put at least another block on it, or maybe 2, and then I'll just terminate the end of it, and that'll be a nice little practice piece. I think you've got a few years on me yet, Eddie Fall Guy. I admit it would be nice to be able to sell a few, because, well, you know, it's not a cheap art form, isn't this? And there's only so many bracelets my wife can wear. I don't tend to wear them a great deal, but I might have to take it up a little bit. But okay, so, but there's nothing comparing somebody who does it all the time with me, who just is going to be doing it occasionally. As you're aware, my the time it takes me to do something like a 7.5 inch Byzantine, you can do a whole necklace in the same time. But I haven't forgotten the promise I made either. So 6 of those, and we'll have 3 of these. Actually, I'm going to do another 2 blocks, so let's make 6 of these. Two. Then I'll try something different. 4, 5, 6. Let's have another 6 of these. 1, 2, 3. This is the easy bit of doing this. The easy but the boring bit. 5 and 1 more. 6. So feed that through there. Promise clearly. Oh yeah, about Wednesday nights. I suspect you may have been joking slightly when you said it, but yeah, it's fair enough. Okay, that's another ring I'm going to need out. I happen to have one spare. That's amazing. Two, and one more across there. I'm still holding it off camera, aren't I? Oh dear. I'm sort of, yeah, tilted up a little bit. You don't need to see the rings on the desk, so that might help me keep it in view. And one across there. And now, as they say, rinse and repeat. Quite why you want to do that when you're washing, I'm not sure. You know, do it a few times maybe, but quite why you want to do it ad infinitum, I'm not quite sure. It's odd how these sayings creep into the language and just what they were intended to mean. I mean, my wife's been using one just recently, Gordon Bennett, which she actually looked up where it came from, and she did tell me, but my memory has escaped me. But that was another one. Gordon Bennett apparently was a real person, so quite often a lot of interesting things behind sayings. Oh, I have that problem with everything that I do camera-wise, AD. When I'm carving, this sort of position actually is quite bad for carving, because I tend to do that, or you know, got my hand. Well, I suppose it's not bad. Certain positions, anyway. This one isn't fantastically good for carving. The carving best, it seems to be sort of down this end of the desk, looking that way, because my hands naturally are never in the way, because I want to see what I'm doing. But the straight down view is quite good for the punch craft. I found sort of straight down for this, you don't really see what's happening as much straight down. Off to one side seems to be slightly better. It's just a case of keeping your hands in view. Occasionally I'm not so bad. I tend to move forward and back more than up and down, but because I keep my arms rested on the chair arms, so. But yeah, it's all different. So I like that, and then the last three. But yeah, it's an interesting camera challenge all the time, trying to keep things in view, especially if you, well, as you know, as you do and I do from time to time, zoom in to make it easier for people to see. Then it becomes even more challenging to keep things in view. You see, all these, well, you're a game streamer as well, but all these game streamers don't so much have that problem. It's just a face cam, and that one tends to be static quite well. While I move my head, I don't sort of tend to move it several feet. So these, let me see if I can find. No, that one has gone as well. Alright, I needed to get some more out anyway. That one, no, not that one, not that one, that one. So I want an orange to replace that one I've just lost. Don't want to do those two I've just lost. That's a closed ring, so I didn't really want to open that one. 1, 2, 3, and these are yellow rather than gold. Not that it matters, it's just I have a green carpet. You wouldn't think you could lose blue and orange rings on a green carpet. Still can't find them. Mind you, in addition to the camera problems, AD, I also have lighting problems because with things like the pyrography, you get glare. I get glare off the lights if I use this overhead light, this table lamp I've got to the side of me. I've got to be careful how I do that. I get glare off of that in all sorts of different positions. For the scraper board especially, with it being a black surface, so it becomes fun trying to get lighting right as well. Otherwise the camera isn't happy. And so I'm going to try and put a diffuser over it today before I stream tonight and see if that makes any difference. What I actually could do with is a camera that's got a better depth of field. That way I wouldn't need to focus it quite so much. So there we go. I think that looks quite good. I'm quite pleased with that. Yeah. Patience. Yeah, and actually that, well, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but that's quite a lot of sort of chunkier or thicker than I expected it to be. A nice, I suppose technically it's a triangular design, but it certainly looks round to me. I wonder whether you could take that technique and just sort of expand it to like to be four-sided rather than three-sided. Kinda don't really see why not. Might have to try that one day just for the fun of trying it, but I don't think I'll try it now. But there we go. So one fail and one success. Put that down on the desk where you can't see it. It flattens a little bit when you put it down, but now then. I'm going to try something. I'm going to try something a little bit challenging. I just want to see whether this is going to work or not. You guys can't see what I've just put down on the table. And what I'm going to do for that is just swap pliers. Actually, I won't use those. I'm going to use the ones I've got in my hand. I've got some little teeny tiny rings. Well, tiny-ish anyway. And actually, I'm not going to use those. I'm going to use these. I'm going to try these little tiny rings just to see quite how well things go with them. I'm just going to try the very same weave again. Just purely for the fun of it. So let me take I want 6 of these closed. Yeah, these might be. I'm not sure. The AR's a bit. What's the AR on these? 4. And we were working at 3.4 before. So this might be a bit. I've got. I just have an experiment. I've got some other small ones as well. That's got a bit a similar 3.4, I think. So we'll know very quickly whether this is any good or not. So. Now that I've done one, and yeah, I now know what it's supposed to be like. Hopefully, I can spot this from fairly easily as to whether it's going to be right or not. They potentially do look a bit thin, but you know what? I don't have the experience to say whether they're good or bad, so so 6 of those. Let's take there 1, 2 blue, 3 blue, no, I want these closed. Okay, we'll leave them like that. Let's take now we'll see whether I can actually remember how to start this without making a mess of the start. 2. Yeah, so a silver. I want another. I can't count, can I? I want another closed blue. I suppose I could have just added it afterwards. There we go. Okay, I'll quite happily put you back on. Am I doing that right? Do I want that? No, I don't. I know what I've got in my mind, but so like that. Like that and like that, I think. That will then give me that sort of pattern. Okay, so I'll want a silver ring in there, and then I want a silver and a blue. Like that, and then I take this silver and I collect up those 2, and those 2. And I almost need magnifying to see this. Okay. So now then, let me just take some of these silver rings I've got here. I'll have to get some more out in a moment, but if this works, that is. And then I can use those silver ones I've just got there just to create the end. To get hold of. Those two blue. Those two blue there. And then this one joins the two silvers together to come to a single ring. And then I'm going to want 3 blue to make the connection to the next block, which I've got there. So I knew I should have used a different colour for that, but there we go, that's that one there. So let me put this through so I can get hold of it, which is half the problem. Okay, getting hold of it sometimes is just half the awkward thing. If you can get hold of them and hold the things where you want them to be, it's a heck of a lot easier. So that through there and through there. And this one, get rid of the cat hair through there and there. I haven't had a visit from Junior on stream for a while. He sits just outside the studio door sometimes and goes to sleep there, but he's not visited for a while. And that there. That's not seeming too bad. Okay, so let's add another couple of blocks to that. So I'll get a few more blue out and a few more of the silver out. Since I've closed those, I'll just leave them alone for the minute. Don't like the idea of opening rings I've just closed. Seems rather like a waste of time or a waste of effort, really. And I guess it stresses the rings a little bit. Yeah, come back. Whilst I sort of do sometimes talk to things that I'm doing, I very rarely talk to stuff while I'm crafting. Occasionally while I'm assembling things like kits or stuff like that, but for some reason it just seems that these rings really encourage me to talk to them. It's probably an effort not to swear at them, but I don't swear these days. Well, very rarely do I swear these days. Okay, so let's add another section. I can tell if I'm going to use these rings a lot, I'm going to need magnifying. I'm going to either have to swing the magnifying glass over or get some of those, what do they call them now? Optivisor, something like that, to assist me. Eyes are going, you see. I need glasses, and although I've got glasses, they're always optimised for certain distances, and you kind of always are wanting to, with something like this, move it closer to your face. So I might have to invest at some point, when I can afford it, in an optivisor, so I can sort of sit back like this, and you lot can laugh at me for wearing a funny hat. That one and that one. There we go. Strangely enough, the fact that these are really shiny actually doesn't help when you need glasses, because they kind of makes them look slightly fuzzy anyway. Now that one I can see. Oh, and I can see my orange one as well. Oh, there we go. Find one ring and find two more to go with it. 2 for 1 bonus, or 3 for 1 bonus. There and there. Nope, not like that. That's it, like that. Incidentally, if you ever hear clicking with this, that's perfectly normal. It's just the as I close the rings, it's just the rings slipping past each other, and it means basically they're as tight together as you can get them. So it's a good sound. Well, that's not bad. It does go a bit flat when you lay it down, but it's not unravelling. Okay, and I'm half suspecting it's only going a bit flat because of the ends are open. Let's test that theory out. By adding another block to it. Three. 4, 5. Let's open one of these then. 6. And 3 blue. One, 2. Well, you're eager to be done, so I shall use you. 3. 2. Three. Add these other 3 back in as well. Singing to myself here, just to reduce the level of adrenaline that I suddenly got a burst of them because the ring went when I didn't want it to go. That one, and it's this one round here. And then we just add the 3 blue again, which interlinks the blocks together. To terminate this particular bit of the weave. I'll take a couple of these rings I've got left over here, and we'll just where's the end? There it is. We'll add these to the blue just to terminate it down to a single ring. So where's the join in this ring? Oh, there it is. Okay, that one and that one. And since I have a blue one out, we'll use that for the final single ring. Just to keep up the blue silver theme. Not that it matters, just a play piece is this, but there we go. So that one's a bit more open, is that? A bit more looser. Using a smaller diameter, a smaller ring. It does go a bit flat when you lay it down. So yeah, maybe not as good, but it's sort of holding its shape. Might be okay for maybe a necklace, which is going to hang more than a bracelet would. A bracelet will tend to flatten out a bit. Shiroko Rocks. Hello, welcome to the studio this afternoon. I'm just experimenting with weaves of rings for jewellery purposes, if you like, so for chains, sort of thing. I'm sort of pointing down at this. You guys can't see it, can you? There we go. So started with one that failed completely. One that a bit of assistance from Eddie Fall Guy is better. This one I've just tried in a smaller ring size. It's almost there, but not quite. So what we got there? We've got an AR4. So you know what? I feel like living a little bit dangerously. Let's try some other rings. I'm going for a challenge here. I am. Let's just see what will happen. Now these may be just a little bit too small to in what they call the aspect ratio to work, but I'm going to find out, and I guess you guys are going to find out with me as well. So I'll close that box up before I put it down. I don't want it slipping off. What am I making? Bluey dangle. What am I making? I'm not actually making anything. Well, I'm making chain. So I was practicing the different weaves of chain. This is one that I've not done before called Turkish round, and I was just practicing. Well, I've never done it, so it was seeing whether I could do it, understand how to make it, and how to do it. So that's all it was, and I tried it to start with, and it failed completely because of the size of the rings that I'm using. It sort of works, but you've got to really keep it under tension, and that's not how you're supposed to do these sorts of things. It sort of really looks messy and untidy, so that one didn't work. I did try a different size of ring with the help of Eddie Fall Guy, who makes these things as his business. The chains and jewellery, that is, and that one worked a lot better. So I just tried some smaller rings that I've got, and this one sort of works a bit better. Well, it works okay. It's a little bit loose. When you put it down, it goes a little bit flat, but it's not a complete mess. It still retains its size. So I'm just trying, it's actually some smaller rings that I've got here. The way it's odd with, well, it's odd. It's not odd. It's logical. But with these rings, when you're making weaves like this, it's not the size of the ring as such that governs whether it's going to work or not. It's to do with the diameter of the wire that's used and the space internally, the internal diameter. And there's a calculation called the aspect ratio that tells you what those are, and certain patterns will only work within a certain aspect ratio. And so whatever, I don't know what the aspect ratio of this one is, but it doesn't work. This one does. This one's on the borderline. It's sort of going flat, but it's on the borderline. What I'm going to try with these rings is these have an aspect ratio which is between that and that. So these, in theory, provided the rings are physically big enough, should work better than this, and probably not quite as good as that. But we're going to find out. So I'm just trying. What are the smallest rings I'm trying? These are 7/64. So they've got a 3.4. So I want, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm not even going to try and do a speed start on this one. I am just going to go and do a single row and then build up from that. Saves the brain power. So I'm going to want 6 silver and 9 blue. So I want 5. So we'll know fairly quickly whether this one's going to work or not, and whether I can actually work with rings this small. So 1, 2. I'm kind of just interested in how a small Turkish round in real small rings looks, to see, you know, does it work as a sort of a delicate looking chain. Or whether it still sort of looks rather chunky even at the smaller sizes. Oops. Okay, I'm going to close 3 blue ones. And these are challenging to see. 1. Two, and this will be the third, and then we can do a little bit of weave and see whether this looks like it's working or not. Yeah, I do need a magnifying glass, I think, really, to work this small. So 1, 2, yeah, 2. Okay, take one of the blues, put a silver through it and add another blue to it to create a chain of 5, and then we'll join them back together. So we take that, bend it around and push it through there like that. Okay, sorry if that wasn't on camera. These are a little fiddly to work with. Right, now then, if I go any further, I'm going to join these blue ones together to form my, you know, the starting handle. Ooh, that's an interesting thing. I've seen a starting handle for years. I can remember when they used to have those on cars. Eva Mavi, thank you very much for following the studio. I really do appreciate you and everybody else who does so. What are the smaller? I've answered that one. Okay, that's good. Thank you very much. Bluey Dangle. You know, I'm kind of wanting to call you Blue Angel, sort of after the display team, but I shan't. I shall. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing your name the way in which you prefer it to be pronounced. Okay, now then. That one, oh dear, these are tiny. That one and that one. Can't really use smaller pliers either for this because they become less effective for closing the rings. Right, can I get? Probably not. Maybe I ought to get some paper clips or something like that. will that go through there? Yes, it will. Hey, that's amazing. Okay. Well, at least I know it's not going to fall out. Right. Ah, dear. Nobody told me, did that? Nobody told me. I put the camera down so you could see the desk and see the rings. I didn't put it back, did I? Here I was thinking, maybe I should focus in, zoom in a little bit on what I'm doing here, because these things are so tiny. I look down at the camera, and of course, you can't see anything. Right, so little, well, as you can see how tiny these things are. Dear. I'm, you see, concentrating too much on what I'm actually doing and on the chat window to keep remembering to look at that, rather than just talking away to myself, and actually forgetting to look at the video output. Ah, dear. Because it's, you come here to watch as well as listen to what I'm saying, I guess, but preferably, I guess, to watch what I'm actually doing. At least you know I didn't disappear. Okay, and another ring around in. Okay. That's that one and that one, and oh no, something's wrong there. So, what's wrong with that? Got a ring that's not sitting right. And it's not sitting right because of the way something's threaded through. So I'm just trying to work out what it. Well, I know which ring it is. I'm just trying to work out what it should look like. So that. Okay, that ring is the wrong way through that blue ring there. Okay, let's see if I can correct this without having to take the whole thing apart and start again. So that wants to go through there and through there and through that one. And now it's not focused, of course. Sort that out. Sort that out now. Now it's decided to focus. What's going on with the focus? That's the problem when I zoom in too much. The focus gets really close and tight, so you there's not a lot of opportunity to get the focus wrong before it becomes completely blurred. So that one and that one there. So now you've just seen the way in which mistakes get corrected. And now I've got a ring around here, that's this one, that needs to be opened again because I took it out of the weave. But left it attached to one of them. Is that the opening? Yeah, there we go. So that's through there, that wants to go through that one, and I want to get it through that one there as well. And it's only gone through one ring at the moment, so we'll try that again. That one and that one. There we go. It's a good job I don't mind some challenges, isn't it? There we go. Now this is where we find out whether this actually, or start to find out whether this particular ring size actually works for this. It's certainly big enough in terms of internal diameter to get the number of rings that you need through the centre. It now depends on whether the thickness of the wire is enough to hold the shape when it's not under tension. Because when you're wearing chains, they're not always under tension, especially if you wear them like on a wrist, or a bracelet for example around your neck. Around the back of the neck, the chain isn't fantastically under tension, it's resting on your neck, so if the weave collapses it doesn't look attractive at all. That's looking promising, so let's add some more sections to it and see how it develops. See this one needing quite a lot of practice, so at this size anyway, because the tiny rings are quite a challenge to work with. Noxale, good evening. Oh, sorry, I was blathering on earlier about not watching the stream video and concentrating on the chat, and I'm not doing either. I'm just blathering on. Let me just get that ring out of there. And let's have a look. So, Noxel, so since when was there a webcam? Well, there was a webcam since I started streaming, because you wouldn't have been able to watch what I was doing when I started doing pyrography a month or so, well, a couple of months ago. But I suspect that what you're actually referring to is the face cam that's there, so you can see the person that in theory is doing this. At least there's some sort of lip sync, I suppose, so it must be me. I've had it about a couple of weeks now. This webcam actually belongs to my works PC, so it's just borrowed off the works PC. It doesn't really work fantastically well in this setup, but it doesn't have a great resolution, and there are interesting things about connecting it up, etc. But so I had it about 2 weeks, and I'm saving up to try and get another one of the Logitech 920s so that I can put that in front of me, and then you get a better picture, and I can crop it and zoom in and things like that, which I can't do with this well, I can crop this camera, but there isn't a lot of point because the resolution isn't that good. And Kailati, I'm kind of wanting to say it along the lines of Moriarty, so Kailati, I think. Good afternoon. Okay. Thank you very much for that. I'm assuming it's a compliment to be a chilled out, quiet spot. This is kind of the stuff I do to well, generally speaking, this is the kind of stuff I do to relax. You know, the carving and the pyrography and things. If you're wondering about any of those, I'll be doing pyrography on the stream this evening. This is just me practicing another one, a free-ish Sunday afternoon. So rather than carrying on with the pyrography, just taking a little break and trying out this different weaves in this art form. You know, I've got the feeling this would make a box, like a triangular box chain as well. Might try that in a minute. Oh, it is based off Moriarty. Okay. Hey, that was Kylie is fine. Okay, I shall try and do that. Excuse me if I do call you Kylie. You know what? I can't say it now. I probably will call you Kylie if you don't mind. No, that's okay, Kylie. You're quite welcome, of course, to just look. I do that in an awful lot of streams myself. I'm not a great one for conversation, a chat conversation, to be honest. Especially some of the busier streams, it's just too hard. But nice chill streams, I usually say a few words, but I quite often I'm either watching 3 or 4 streams at the same time, or especially in creative, or I'm doing something else at the same time as well, you know, like accounts or something like that, and trying to concentrate on a conversation isn't necessarily very easy, so I do not mind at all. You're quite welcome. If anybody's got any questions, I'll quite happily try and answer them. And I think we've still got a jewellery expert in the channel, in the chat at the moment, Eddie Fall Guy, who does this for a business, and has helped me out a little bit in doing this. He also streams, by the way, for those of you that have joined. If you don't know Eddie Fall Guy, he streams chainmail jewellery. Well, I'm assuming he does other things besides jewellery, you know, like bags and bus pass holders, and I think there's a phone case on the horizon, maybe, all made out of rings like this, although usually slightly larger ones, I think. Eddie streams Monday to Friday from 1 PM to 3 PM, subject obviously to any family issues or things going on, but and on a Wednesday evening from 7 or 7:30 till about 9:30. He did tell me earlier in the stream his evening stream times, and as usual it slipped out of my memory, but I think I'm about right there. And on at least a couple of other nights a week he streams games, and so it's well worth checking out. yeah, that's looking not too bad. Let's do another section. And he's the expert on this stuff. I'm just an amateur, learning as I go, which is what I find the fun bit of most things. Trying something new. So unfortunately I can't hold me, well, I suppose I could move the camera a bit, but I'm just opening rings, which is just clasping them between the two pliers and twisting slightly. Create enough space to slip a ring through, but not too much that you put too much stress on the ring. If you bend any metal sufficiently, of course it will break. If you're not sure what these are, by the way, these are they're called jump rings. They're made out of aluminium, and then they're anodized and dyed, and that's how you get some very vivid colours out of these as well. Some beautiful rich purples and some lovely pastel colours. Thanks Noxale for that. There's some streams where you can't get a word in without it. Yeah. Well, certainly streams are meant to be enjoyed. I think that's the key thing, and however you enjoy them, you ought to be, well, generally speaking, be allowed to, obviously within the terms of the law and terms and conditions and things like that. But I'm not having any problems stream wise at the moment, AD, that I know of. It's going out all okay. For the past 3 nights I have had Twitch kick me out at about 11 o'clock at night and then reconnect me again. You know, 10:30, something like that, for no apparent reason, but we don't seem to be doing too bad this afternoon at this end. But I know 3D Block often has the same problem where it just keeps buffering for him. I think potentially there's a problem with Twitch's output web servers, the ones that you guys are actually watching in the UK, or the ones that the UK attached to anyway. It seems to buffer quite a lot. There we go. Okay, Kylie. Yeah, so it's only certain people, and it may have something to do with the different networks in the UK as well, I guess, because I've had times where Free and I, for example, have both been watching the same stream, and he gets a problem and I don't. He gets buffering and I don't get any at all, so, and kind of vice versa, so. But without sort of spending ages sort of looking where we're connected to and what the the connection between me and or him and them are. It's the times when I kind of just wish I could say, I tell you what, forget where you're trying to connect me to Twitch. Let me view it on one of the American outputs, because they seem to have little problem. So there's that one and that one, and so we'll do this one here. I am just on camera, aren't I? Yeah. I suppose if I zoomed this in enough and focused it and made sure it was the right way around in terms of whether I mirror it or not, so I understand what I'm doing, I could almost use this this webcam a bit like a magnifying glass and just look up and watch what I'm doing on the camera. Now that would be a challenging hand-eye coordination thing, I think. Yeah, it would be challenging. I'd have to zoom in a bit more than this. Well, it could be sometimes, Knoxhill. I guess it could be. I am lucky. I'm generally speaking the only one in the household that brings down the stream. I generally have something around about 50 plus megabits per second download, which gives me plenty of bandwidth to stream about four HD streams. Not that I've got 4 monitors to watch them on, but I've got 3. But there we go. Now that's not doing too bad. Let's pull it down. Yeah, that's, well, it sort of goes flat again, but it's I've put it down the desk like that. It sort of goes slightly flat, but there again, so does that one. It's not bad. It's a bit better than that one is. Yeah, this one's rather flat. This one sort of holds up under tension, but it's sort of flattening out. It doesn't unravel as such like this one unravels. Not technically it doesn't unravel, but it's just such a mess you can't tell what on earth it is. This one at least still does sort of look sort of a bit like that, like it's supposed to do, but not great. You know something? These blue rings look a bit purple on there. This camera is weird. Purple looks blue and blue's looking purple. Sort of. Anyway. So that works quite well. This is working quite well. Ah dear. You know what, I'm going to put another section of another section on this, and then I'm going to try I'm just going to try this ring size and see if I can do a 3-sided box. Don't know if it's going to work, but given that this is working, I don't see any reason why. Well, given that a box is a very similar weave, I don't particularly see why it shouldn't work. And now I'll put the camera back up before I forget, so you can still continue to see what I'm doing. So let's have a few more of those silver rings and then 6 blue ones. So three silver, 6 blue. One, 2, 3, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6. I wonder if you could go down to an AR3 on this, because I've got some even smaller rings. I am challenging myself this afternoon with these tiny rings. It's quite good fun though. Might just try the box first, and then we might just see they're the small. I've got some 5/32, I think it is, rings, which are about the smallest I've got. If you, I'm just thinking, then it's quite interesting, or I find it quite interesting, how you got a ring that's this size. Not a lot of scale for you to sort of work with, but it produces something sort of that diameter, and it kind of, it's amazing, isn't it, how it sort of just multiplies the diameter. You think you'd be really tiny sort of chain with something this size, and yet it comes out somewhat larger. Kind of makes me wonder just how small a ring you'd have to have if you wanted to sort of create something, you know, that's overall that sort of diameter. It'd have to be extremely tiny. You'd be using a microscope to try and put the things together. Right, let's put this last block together. Sorry if I'm hiding it with my finger when occasionally I'm putting rings through. It's not the easiest of things to do at this size, but I just need to do that, support it with my finger as I'm doing it, so my apologies, but I shall make it as visible as I can. Half the trick here is to make sure you're trying to get you get the rings through in the right sort of in the right direction or in the right place, and not actually catch another ring in. It can be very easy to do, and if you catch another ring in, then it just breaks the weave. So sort of a bit like I did when I started this one. I somehow managed to put a ring through in the wrong direction through a ring, and the thing just wouldn't come together. Never get exactly the number of rings that you want out, because you always find that they go walkabout. Let me get another one. You know, I think 84 guy who does this for a living. I kind of wonder. I don't know if you've got a carpet where you are ready, or sort of at the end of a, you know, if you didn't sweep the floor every day, which you may or may not do, I kind of wonder at the time when you do, just do you end up with an extra box full of rings just because you find all the ones that have escaped. Whilst they're look sort of really solid visible colours like bright shiny silver and dark blue and things, and you'd think they'd be easy to find on the floor. They're not. It's daft. I mean, I've got a bright green carpet here, It's meant to represent grass, by the way, in case you wonder why it's meant to be, why it's a bright green carpet. But you'd think something like a dark blue would show up against it. No. And then ultimately when you do find it, it's so immediately obvious and visible, you kind of wonder how you didn't see it before. Yeah. I do try, but I mean I was looking down on the floor then for one of these silver ones I dropped, and it's possibly caught in my shirt somewhere or something like that, because it bounced off me, but I didn't actually see where it went. But I figured rather than spend sort of 10 minutes crawling around on the ground, I'll just get another one out and find it later. Can't really afford to let them just lie around on the floor without making an attempt to find them. They ain't cheap. There we go, that's through that. Let's finish these off, link two together. Link the other two together. And I know I've only got three, so that's one's currently got two rings, or will have two rings through it. It just holds the pattern. Sorry, the weave, not the pattern. Gotta get the terminology right. There we go. Took me a while to work out or learn what the difference was between a weave and a pattern. A weave is the way you put the rings together. The pattern, if you like, is the colours that you use. But there we go. That actually looks quite nice. There we go. It doesn't particularly go. It goes a little bit flat, but not significantly. So it's not bad. I quite like that. Okay, so let me just see if I can see where that little tiny blue ring went down there. No, but I've seen. Oh, well, I thought I found two there. I found a silver one. It was a silver one I lost, yeah. Thank you. Okay, right. So let me take that off. I want to just try, because that was going quite well. I'm going to try a box. Actually, I wanted to try, yeah, a box version of that. Just there you go. And I'll zoom out for a little bit. because that way when I sort of go a box version and point at something, you've got an idea what it is I'm pointing at. That's called a Turkish round. My lovely wife is just examining that that thing I've just made. Actually, I've just taken some blue out and yeah, I'll do it. This isn't going to work the same. You know, it's a slightly different weave and it works slightly differently. So, thank you very much. I should put that back there. Now then, what am I going to do with this one? So I want some 3 closed blue ones. So there's no in the box chain. There's no joining pieces like there is in here. The blue in this or the orange in here is sort of joining sections together. With a box, it doesn't. A box weave, you don't have the same joining piece. So any colour variation that's that you want to put into the weave is done in a slightly different way. More or less by section, by sort of block rather than sort of individual sort of bits and pieces like that. So I'm just going to do is I'm just going to use these. There's some blue here just to sort of hold the starting section together, and I'm going to do a block of silver, and then I'll do a block of blue. To just see if it works. It might not. I'm going to have fun finding out. I'm also going to tip that camera up a little bit, just to give me a little bit more vertical working room. So I need to open a few of these, quite a few of these. I don't know how, I don't know, let's go for 12 maybe. 12 silver. So 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9. There you go. You didn't know how a Gnat could count, did you? This is possibly where I have to get my socks off. 9. Dear. 10. 11. One more. I can even do subtraction, you see. 12. Right, so I shall now put it up so you can see the pliers a bit easier. You've seen the rings on the desk, they're just sat on the desk, nothing special about them other than they're very pretty colours. I almost wish there was a machine or something by which I could get hold of these rings, or have them such that they were always just sort of held up at the right angle just to get hold of with pliers. Because half the time you just can't get hold of them in just the right way. They won't spin around, and they won't, you can't push them around in a circle. They just move out of your way, and it's just why ring, why? Okay. Is that okay? Is that got a... No, I think that one's... No, that's all right. Okay, I was just making sure I hadn't twisted the chain in the wrong way, which would make it awkward trying to put things together. So, would have made it awkward trying to put the next row in. If I twisted the chain, the links wouldn't match up properly. So I'm just putting the end on the chain, or the starting end on the chain. I can then slip the twist tie I've got through the end ring that'll end up with on here, if I can get hold of it. There we go, and then that makes that. Actually, when you started that, most of the time I've been doing this, that's the hardest bit, is keeping hold of it to start with in the right place when you've got such a little chain to get hold of. Of course, the ironic thing is that once it's long enough to get hold of, you don't need to keep hold of it because it kind of just falls into shape by itself, which is okay. You are going to go through that ring if it's the last thing I do today. There we go. And just bend that over like that. Now we find out whether I can actually do a three-sided box. I have no idea. Since I always think of a box chain as being square, maybe there's a reason for that. Sometimes I wish my wrist had turned the other way as well as the way it normally does. Okay, so have I got... No, that ring went somewhere I didn't... Is that right? Oh no, that's right, yeah. I almost made a mistake there. But not quite. So it's those three there. That one and that one. That one and that one. That one and that one. Now then, is this going to do it, or is this going to fall flat on its face? Yeah, it's going to fall flat on its face. Hello? I could simulate that, I wonder. Never be able to terminate it though, finish it off. Wrong size rings anyway. It's clearly the wrong size rings to do a box. Either I've started it wrongly to do a box. No, I haven't. Have I done? No, I haven't. I think I'm probably just trying to do it at the wrong point. Yeah, I think that's maybe it. Here I am potentially forgetting how to do a box chain. And then that through there. And then those go like that, and there we go. That's me forgetting how to do a box chain. Okay, let's have a few more silver rings actually. One, two. Well, looks like I've got enough to do two more, another section. 3. I've got some more in the box, so it's not completely, you know, I'm out of or anything like that. And since I'm practicing, I could just mix any colours that I like. Well, no, I can't mix any colours that I like because I've only got 2 colours in this ring size, but I do have enough to practice with. So 6 of those. That led me effectively another row of silver. And I'll put some blue on. So it looks like the answer is yes, I can do a box, a three-sided box. And since I was interested in whether I could do a four-sided Turkish weave, which I suppose isn't a Turkish weave, but being four-sided, because I think Turkish is three-sided, that implies I could do a four-sided box. And I know boxes are four-sided anyway, but I suppose that means it would be an eight-sided box. Interesting. And the interesting thing about doing this as well will be to learn quite how to put the rings in such that I got, for example, a blue stripe down this. Just down one side, for example. Or you could go blue, a red and a green stripe, for example. Ooh, sounds interesting. I don't have a third colour though, so I can't actually try it at the moment. I might have to order a third colour just to see if I could do that. Might be a bit challenging to work out the order to put the colours in, but that sounds like an interesting pattern. I suppose what I should do at that point is go sort of I don't know, a striped pattern as in TM. Trademark the pattern. Oh dear. After all, we've got still got Eddie Fall Guy in the stream, who is a professional jewellery maker of this style. Don't want him nicking the idea. Oh dear. So 3. Get a few. Let's do. How many did I do there? I think I did 4 sections there. So 1, 2. Yeah, I think 3 sections. Okay. I've kind of proved it works anyway. So this is just adding a blue section to the end of it just for fun. But now that I've got the hang of the way these go together, in theory I suppose it ought to be able to almost do any number of sides. Getting the ring sizes right for that though would be a challenge, I think, so it holds together. And ultimately, if it gets too big, you get a hollow in the middle, and that hollow in the middle would mean that the thing would collapse. It wouldn't hold its shape. So we've got 1. Let's get some more of these blue rings out. And fasten up the box so that if I knock it on the floor, they don't go all over the place. So 1, 2, 3. 4, that's 2 sections. 1. 2. 3. 1. that's 3 sections, another 6 rings now just to make another section, and then 3 to finish off with. 1, 2. So anybody is well, for everybody that's watching, you can kind of see, you know, if you're not familiar with this craft. Okay, I'm not the fastest, but I'm also not working extremely slowly. You kind of see how long, you know, crafts take to put together. I think a lot of people get surprised if they're not familiar with crafting. And handmade pieces of anything at all. Just how long it takes to do some of these things. I think sort of mass production of some things fool you, and if you've seen things like YouTube videos as well, they sometimes fool you because quite often they're sped up, and even though you know that they're sped up, you don't get an overall idea of just what the speeding up does. I mean, if I speed something up 50 times, that means every minute is 50 minutes, but it's still hard to sort of translate that back into, you know, I've watched 1 minute of video, but that actually would take almost an hour, and it's a really hard concept to do, is to unravel time-lapse stuff like that. Okay, so we will now shift to using blue. So we'll have we've got a silver section and a blue section, and I will take a deep breath and calm down, and then it will go in where I want it to go. Okay, round mail with 3. Oh, is that what it's got? Yeah, for the box, if you like. Yeah. Okay. Have you ever tried it with 4? Because in theory, if 3 works, 4 should. Now then, I've just done something wrong there. Undo that one. I think I just put that through the wrong. Yeah, I went through the wrong part. This is a little bit fiddly with like this, but patience, patience, patience is required. There we go. Well, I kind of feel like claiming that I discovered this anyway, AD, because I didn't know it was even possible to do, or so I just went ahead and tried it. To be honest, I highly suspect that there isn't, that there are any more weaves that could possibly be made out of rings that people haven't already discovered. Blue on blue is quite hard to see. Didn't have a problem with silver. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's whether it holds together, doesn't it, and holds its shape. Okay, I shall resort to the cocktail stick. There we go. Is that one in the right place? That one is in the right place, so it is just being a bit awkward. Something is not right there, is it? Is that? Oh no. That ring's not right. Or something's not right. What's not right? Well, for a start, I put that through only one ring, not two, so that's not right. There we go. Get a bit of light on the subject. That's better. That one's okay, and then we get one through there. This should not be tight. Why is this not quite? It's kind of the chain is kind of acting really tight at this position, at this point. It just didn't seem to want to sit right. Now, usually that means that there's something wrong, but I can't actually see anything wrong. What I can see there is a ring that wants closing better. If I can get in with it. Yeah. Blue on blue is hard, and I've already mentioned it, but it really is quite hard to see. I've come to the conclusion I prefer weaving Byzantine to weaving this, or even the standard box to weaving this, but you know what, that's different. And it's only really it's practice. I'm not really having any significant trouble with it, but it's just slightly awkward, I guess, and the colour choices. So maybe the one to avoid in making this is to avoid using dark blue. Okay, one more section and then we'll terminate the chain. One. Closing a ring that hadn't closed properly there, so they stand out quite clearly when that happens, because they stand, especially with these darker colours, because they show up as a silver flash. Right, quite why I've got an extra ring spare, I'm not sure. I obviously can't count. And I think I've proved that on other streams as well when I've been doing things like this. So I don't suppose it's anything really new. No, let's get that right, which... So I want a ring to go through that one and that one. There. Turn our final. So that through there. That through there and there. Put that one through that, those two there, and that's that bit of chain done. There we go. I think I did something wrong in the middle of that. I did. I'll give you a close-up and so it's quite a nice. Well, I think it's quite a nice looking chain actually. It's round maille apparently, but I made a mistake in it. Just in there, you can see there's a gap, and so I made a mistake with that gap somehow. Dear, the blue was quite hard to see, so no excuse really. In theory, well, normally I'd have to take that apart and I'd take it back to there and redo that, but that might be a valid technique to sort of split sections off as well, you know, spread them apart about a little bit. But interesting design, interesting pattern, but I quite like that, the silver and the blue together in a way, and the way they do sort of fit really together smoothly, in fact quite a lot more nicely in a way than they do on a box chain. But I like that. So anyway, and that will, let's just see, is it going to sit? It sort of collapses a little bit, but it mainly holds its shape. The bit where I made a mistake is, well, sort of collapsing a little bit, but there again it's the end of the chain as well, so it doesn't have the following links to support it, so it's not bad. Anyway, so again, it's sort of collapses slightly, as I was saying, especially at the end where there's no further links to support it, and because I made the mistake in the middle as well. But interesting bit of practice there. As Eddie told me, is called round maille. I think it goes quite nicely, and along with Turkish round there, and another version of Turkish round that sort of didn't work very well, but sort of worked. If you hold it under tension, you can see it, but it does tend to collapse somewhat. Not quite a jumble, but almost. And when we started, we were right at the start, which doesn't look like anything at all. The ring size is just the wrong for this, so that can go out the way. I learnt not to use those. This one sort of works, doesn't really work too well. Basically the wrong ring sizes. That can go out the way. But these three, Turkish round and Turkish round, both have worked quite well, and this one is the round maille apparently, but sort of a three-sided version of the box chain. Anyway, there we go. It's now 5:45. I've got a headache, so I'm going to go take some medication for that. I need to go out and do a particular job and have some tea and get ready for the pyrography stream this evening. So I'm going to call this stream to an end. Say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you are watching and would like to follow me, I of course would appreciate that very much. You may also, if you wish to do so, follow me on Twitter, where you will get to know when a stream goes live but not what I have for breakfast. And if you just want to try and catch me on my normal streams, there is one this evening. It's from 2000 hours UK time, 1900 hours GMT, or if you take a look at your clock, which will save you looking at Google, and add 2¼ hours. That's when I'll be live. Same time tomorrow, same time on Tuesday. Apart from that, thank you all again for watching. See you in another stream. Bye bye.